Okay, so we just drove to the other side of Mallorca, and the sea is just over here. There's some more gnarly cliffs on the other side, and we're gonna explore this side now. Also should be some viewpoints of the sea. This is the car we rented, and now we're just gonna continue up here. Okay, so we were starting the hike, entering the woods, but you can also park here. And now we're just going, seems like a nice forest of the oak trees. So I was talking about this issue in my previous videos. You can see the fences on each side of the road, and you can't basically freely walk to the nature. So that's why here in Spain, like, you have to take this with a grain of salt, and when you see the gate, just go through it, because everything is pretty much surrounded by fences. So if you listen to the signs and the gates all the time, you would not enjoy the nature at all. So for example, this hike goes through the property here, and even it says on the gate, private property, access prohibited, but we saw some older people went right through. So I guess nobody takes this sign seriously, because if you do, you would never get anywhere, because everything is surrounded with private properties and fences. So the path we're following was barely visible through this high grass, but we're hoping it's gonna be better once we get up there to the rocks. And we're just following the Maps.me navigation here. And today it's warmer than other days. It's getting over 23 degrees Celsius, so we're hiking in t-shirts. So Mallorca is definitely a place to spend winter. So on our GPS we see that the path keeps going on the top and then goes on the left, and we just want to make a shortcut here because the path is not really visible. So we're just gonna scramble up these rocks anywhere we can, maybe practice some little rock climbing. Okay, now we scrambled on top of the ridgeline, and now we have to keep on the left. So as with every hike, we try to make a loop to make it more interesting, and this time we should get back with the bigger road that you can see in the front. Should be faster on the way back. So these are the signs they make, just few rocks on top of each other. But there's nowhere to get lost. It's just little bushes, so we can see very far. So we should get up to this amazing rocky peak in front of us, but it looks really steep, so I guess the path goes around from the left side. So this hill, I think it's around 500 or 600 meters above sea level. So it's not so high, but when you compare that the sea is just here, it's a lot of elevation from down there. So now the path started to go more up steeper, and at parts it was almost scrambling, and I just realized how different people could have different perspective of this terrain. So for us this is quite challenging, but it's doable, it's normal, it's fun. But for example, for Sanya's mom, this would be like climbing Mount Everest, like really challenging and scary. But for some people like Alex Honnold, the famous free solo climber, this hike would be even boring. He's climbing a steep rocks without rope, like the one in front of us, which for us would be really scary and challenging, and for him would be normal. So at the beginning I thought the path would go on the left side of the hill to the top, but actually it's going more from the right side. These cliffs in the front could be great for rock climbing. And here you can see how we went up. So we started down at the beach and then went up to that ridge all the way up till here. I didn't go to the top, but went around this hill. And then we found out that there is actually another top over here straight in front of us, which I think is the one that we want to go to. So we have to do more elevation now. So the top of the first hill is just here. It would take only a few minutes to get up. So this time we're getting up to the second hill from the left side, and we see the steep rocky cliffs above us, which could be great for rock climbing. And as we're getting higher, we can see more mountain ranges and half islands that are obstructed by other hills before. Okay, so here we got to the top of the hill. I think it took us around 2 hours from the beginning, and there was no sign marking the top. There was only this rock which I climbed up on. And then I recorded this 360 view of these beautiful surroundings. So we're just eating lunch with this awesome view here, and I'm having mashed potatoes with some spices and a little bit of salt. And we have some beans as well with some vegetables. And Sanya has the same plus what? Vegan burger. Alright, it's 3:22 and we're deciding whether to go to that hill in front of us, which should take another hour at least. But then we decided it's better just to go already down another way, because we don't really know how the path is gonna be and if we have enough time before the darkness. So the path down on this side was also not very visible, but it's definitely less steep than on the other side. And the views are just as amazing. So here you can see we just descended from up there between those two hills, and then we followed the ridge until here, and now we see that the path continues over there behind those hills and back down. As we descended more down, we got a view of more interesting table rock formations that we haven't seen before. As we walked on the ridge, we got to these steep cliffs. They're pretty much going down straight into the sea. So it was an amazing view, but we're a little bit scared not to fall down. And we also see some beach here. So this environment reminded us of Crete Island in Greece, where we're spending a holiday in the summer, and we're also hiking there. So looking down from the cliff like this could be actually dangerous because it can all collapse. I don't know how stable are these rocks. For example, you can see On the other side of the huge part of the cliff just fell down, so it's quite extreme to look down like this. So looking at all these amazing rocky cliffs, you would think that this is a climbing paradise, but again, these cliffs could have loosened rocks and it could be really dangerous to climb. So that's why I just don't recommend to climb on any cliff, because there could be loose rocks and it could be even fatal. That's why I recommend, when you're gonna climb something new, whether it be even simple bouldering, always check whether the rocks are loose, and if you're not sure, just ask the professionals or somebody in the area. Here you can see the profile of the route, how we got down. So we started from behind that hill and got down to this hill in the middle, and then followed the ridge with these cliffs until here. So looking down at this blue sea, it reminded me of snorkeling in the summer. It will be great to snorkel around these cliffs and see some fish. But for that you will have to come to Mallorca in the summer, as the water is too cold now. Looking at these rocks, it's mind-blowing that they were once covered with the sea a long time ago. You could not tell that on the other side of the ridge is the steep cliffs that we walked a few minutes ago. And here we got to some place where there should have been some ruins of the castle, but all we found was this hole here. Down here we can already see that big road that we should get back with, so I guess we're gonna connect it to it soon. And here we got to these holes in the ground, so there should be some caves underneath us. we got more down, we got to this tunnel, so let's turn on the lights on our phones and let's explore it. And exactly as I expected, we got right under the holes that we saw from up there. So when we got out the cave, we saw that there is another road going more around this half island, but we had enough for today, so we're just gonna follow this main road back to our car. The main road was starting exactly where the caves were, so I guess it was some excavation of rocks there or something. So compared to the path before through the cliffs, these last 2 kilometers on this big road was quite boring. We see on the map there should be some river marked as torrent, but I guess the ground is so rocky that all the water just soaks in and goes underground. Alright, Vegan Adventures, that's it. We made the loop, so this is pretty much where we started. So it's good that we started going this way and went around the other way, because it will be really hard to get back in this darkness now. But we experienced some amazing scrambling adventure when we were getting up there to the top. We saw amazing views on both sides, also saw the sea and the cliffs. So I highly recommend to do this loop if you're in Mallorca. We have even more spectacular adventures coming up in next few days, so stay tuned for those. And as always, stay healthy
and stay adventurous.